Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to the worldwide viewers, my subscribers, my friends, my family, to all those who are tuned into Cardo's Media this afternoon. We are live. We are about to go live with the senator out of Marigot. We are about to go live with the young senator from Marigot who is vying for leadership of the United Workers' Party. Senator? Senator Paris, how you doing? You're muted.
What going on, Richie?
I am quiet, my brother. I'm quiet, man.
Nice, nice, nice.
I see you're a busy man.
Yes. Always been in a different way now.
Very
In a
busy
different,
man
very
now.
exciting way now. So you know how that goes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But I appreciate your time and your and for even allowing me the opportunity to have this interview, this vital interview with you this afternoon. So yeah, man.
No problem, man. No problem. I'm happy to be on here. I'm happy to be with you. It's not our first time on live.
No, it's
We've
not. It's
done
not.
a few things before. So I hope this can just be a continuation of the conversations that we've had in the past.
Yeah, man. So to the people who are now getting to know who Senator Paris is, can you, in your own words, define who you are?
Who is well, senator is a title. Delbert Paris is an optimist,
Okay.
a pragmatist, and an eternal patriot. Someone, my general belief is one of optimism. I believe that you can change the way the future look if you change how you look at the future. I believe we have what it takes to define our own destiny and to define what the future outcomes will be based on the efforts that we make today. So
Okay.
optimism and pragmatism and most of all patriotism.
Patriotism. I like that. So let me ask you this. I'm just gonna jump straight into this thing. I don't even want to cut sugarcoat and dance around nothing. You know what I mean? Why now and why did you jump into this race and what do you feel you can bring to the people of Dominica that is different from everybody else?
Well, the thing is, it's a response. It's a
Okay.
response. It's a response to uh, a call for additional capacity, additional leadership. Some people like to call it new blood or new faces. It's a response. I believe that if you have capacity and you've been given talents and skills, you should add it to the solution. You should
Okay.
add it to the fight for a better life and a better Dominica for everybody involved. So
Mm.
that's why now. That's why now.
And what makes you uniquely qualified for that? That was the second part of the question.
Well, unique qualifications. We're all unique. I think experiences and background, the
Mm-hmm.
differences in all of us who we are makes everybody unique and makes us have something to offer and bring to the table. I think willingness to serve is one of the things that defines us. Willingness to serve and willingness to be part of the solution for our country is what sometimes separates some of us. It doesn't make us one better than the other necessarily, because we're all part of the system that's going to help build our country and help build our society, build our parties, our families, and our unique differences make us a great part of the wheel that's going to keep pushing and propelling us forward. But our willingness to serve and our willingness to be part of what it is what makes a difference. What sets me apart is that I'm extremely willing. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to be part of the solution for our country.
Some say you are too young and you don't have no skin in the game. What's your response to that?
Well, that's something you have to measure. Um, and of course I appreciate that. But let's look around the globe and let's
Mm-hmm.
look at the kinds of people and the ages of people who have made remarkable changes to to our globe and the way we live our life in history. Let's look at today. around the world, in Africa, in other parts of Europe, where you see people of different ages stepping out and stepping forward and offering themselves for service to their country, to their people, to their party, to their churches. I think it's again, like we mentioned earlier on, uh, uh, an issue of willingness, an issue of bravery, an issue of commitment to country and people that will define us. I mean, let's look at what's happening in Africa today. Let's look at Burkina Faso. Let's look at Senegal and the young men who are revolutionizing the face of Africa. I think it's about willingness to be part of the solution that's going to make the difference, not necessarily your age.
Okay. Okay. What specific strategies do you have to expand the UWP supporters around Dominica, drawing from different age groups, stuff like that? What specific strategies?
Richie,
Or you don't want to
I
disclose
have a
it?
suspicion. I have a suspicion that you would like us to put out the whole playbook, but we're
No
not going
man, no man, no
I have a
man.
suspicion you like us to expose the whole playbook on the media. We're not going to do that. But I can answer the question. The strategy is messaging. Messaging.
Okay,
The United
okay.
Workers Party has a philosophy that has survived for decades and one that still remains relevant today. And
Mhm.
it's about sharing that message of this great movement with everybody. The
Mm.
message and the philosophy that we deserve to live the best possible life that we can live at home, that our seniors deserve it, that our elders deserve to be able to retire in a place where we can consider to be paradise, but paradise in peace.
Paradise in peace.
Paradise in peace, and where our young people can feel like they have a future at their own home, and the future here is good enough. And that's part of the strategy going forward, bringing that message further and faster than we've done before. And in additional, one of the ways we're going to be doing that is doing it on the ground, doing
Okay.
it in homes, doing it in our communities, some of our communities that sometimes feel neglected and
Mm.
unreached and untapped. I think, and obviously we're doing it now. We're on Cardo's Media, brand new media house,
Yeah, man.
making serious waves in online, and so that's what we're going to be continuing to do, making sure that we reach the people with the message, a message that addresses their issues directly.
Okay, good, good, good. I I want to know a little bit more about your message, man. You you are a young man. I mean, I know you from church days, and to see you in the political arena was kind of like different for me. So
Mhm.
it's like I just want to know, like, how do you feel being in this position right now? Like, what is your feeling like? How do you feel like you connect with the people of Dominica?
Well, you have always connected with the people of Dominica. This is connecting with people of Dominica is not new. It's just probably a different platform.
Okay.
It's exciting. It is exciting and it is encouraging. And how you measure that is with meeting with people on the ground every single day.
Okay. So
that
you're on the
that
ground.
is one of the litmus tests that we're using to see and to feel and to gauge the responses of that kind of involvement. It's really exciting, and it's my people, Richie. It's
Yep.
it's it's our people.
It's our people.
I'm not a stranger to them. I've always been involved with people. Many people like to call me a people's person. Obviously, that needs to be measured. But that's one of the things I love engaging with people. I love engaging with our people. I love engaging and sharing ideas. Empathy is one of the things that characterizes me. So I lead with listening. I lead with inclusivity, and that for me, like you said, with a religious background, that for me is part of my foundation.
Okay.
Understanding that my involvement with people is always one that should be of contributing to my fellow men and sharing, not only sharing my ideas but listening to theirs, and together forming a bond that lifts all of us together. And it's being involved in politics is just a different platform. We've left, we've started at church, like most of us, you too, Richie.
Yeah,
You too.
man.
I remember being
Yeah.
on the bench together with you and sharing, So it's all about. But where the basis was. But then we went into the community, into places like the village council, and to places like the Margaret Credit Union board of directors, and a whole bunch of youth activism and advocacy inside and outside of Dominica, going as far as Africa to represent Dominica as part of the Caribbean delegation that was sent to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, the youth forum that precedes the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Those
Okay.
things, participating in those things is sort of a wide, diverse background that gave me some tools that we are using now, that I'm using now in Parliament. That kind of wide base of diverse background, and all of it involved engaging with people the entire time, even
Okay.
as far as the participating in the United Nations Development Program for Youth and Governance. Those kinds of things sort of positioned me to always wanting to and always being willing to be part of the solution. This time it's in active elective politics, and it's exciting, and I'm really, really encouraged by the response, by the interaction, by meeting people on a day-to-day basis, and sharing and listening.
So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
When you win the leadership of
I
the
like
United
that. I
Workers'
like that, Richie.
Party,
I like that. I like that. It's sound like those people that manifest things. I like it.
yeah, man. When you win the leadership,
Yeah.
tell me 5 things, and then now win the election for the general election. What are
Mhm.
5 things that you plan to do as the prime minister?
Well, I thought you would ask for 20,
No, man,
but
just 5, man.
we can give you five. We can give you five. Um, here's the thing, Richie. One of the things that we have to understand with growth and governance is about the people-centered outcomes of the things that we do. Having political office and leading political office should reflect the people's desire and their needs first. One of the things that directly affect people is the status of our growth engines, or the health of our growth engines. We're talking about growth engines. We're looking at things that will actually grow our economy, that will affect people immediately.
Okay.
Things like agriculture, things like our infrastructure development, things like the health of our private sector and the viability of our private sector, which automatically relates to the health and viability and the growth of our middle class, that group of people who have the wherewithal and the willingness to invest and to take loans and to take risks. Those are the things that we want to address first, and directly, and we will walk and chew gum at the same time, because then you have to look at our education system and the improvement of our education system that will provide a healthy environment for our people to be marketable in a very modern way, in our modern, fast moving society. That's one of the things that needs to be addressed immediately. And then look, what about our healthcare? These are not in order of priority, but they are all together, right? What about our health? Our healthcare is some of the things that the state of your healthcare in any economy will determine how well your people do. It will determine how well your people do. So we're addressing the loopholes and the gaps in our healthcare system. And then we're looking at our foreign policy and our foreign relations. Sometimes we look at the interaction that we have with some of our foreign friends, and our relationship looks lopsided. It looks like one country that our friends benefit more than we do. And there's so much more room for leveling of the relationship, for an equalization of the benefits that both parties had. And that's something there's some areas there that we need to look at, and look at in a very critical way. Then we look at our infrastructure development. How are we doing that? How is that being implemented? Because you can do good things and you can have good ideas, but you can implement them in a bad way. And one of the gaps that we have now in Dominica is the level of participation that we have as locals, as natives, as citizens in our country, the level of gainful, meaningful participation that we have in our infrastructure development projects. That needs to be leveled out as well. There needs to be a balancing there. And you asked me for 5. So I mean, we can go on and on and on. One, we don't have the time, and two, we're not giving you the whole playbook today, Richie.
I know, I understand, man. But okay, on the last one, you touched on a little bit of infrastructure.
Mhm.
Can you expound on that because of your expertise a little bit?
Of course, I can expound on that. We have capital projects that are going on now. And Richie,
Mhm.
you're a man on the ground. As a
Yes.
matter of fact, you are from the community of Wesley, where now we are having the execution of Dominica's largest infrastructure project that we've seen in our history. And from my perspective, there is the level of participation that we have in Dominica and the opportunities that we're taking for growth in our in the private sector in particular is lopsided. There's so much more room for growth. There's so much more room for advocacy in from a governance standpoint for our locals across the board. When we go from ordinary workers and skilled labor, but not only what currently exists, but there also exist some opportunities for the improvement in our skill level, for apprenticeship training, for getting both existing people in the field and people who want to get into the field. There's an existing scope for them. There's no reason why we shouldn't be having a training school at the international airport with taking full advantage of the transfer of technology and information that is currently happening there. I'll give you a perfect example. In Dominica, we've never seen soil stabilization using a mix of soil and cement before. And I
Yeah.
think we should be exposing our industry more to it and seeing avenues for us to use it in other places that will make our construction more efficient. That will probably reduce the cost of our construction. It will now give people the ability to build in areas probably where they think they couldn't build before. But now there's an opportunity that exists there for us to share that knowledge locally in a very transparent and open and ethical and equitable way. And then you talk about the building of generational wealth. The level of participation there doesn't lend itself to building wealth. What about our truck drivers? We saw what happened with them recently and we saw their plight. There's some level of engagement there now, but that can be increased. There's still room for increased participation and increased profitable level of participation. What about our contractors? What about our heavy equipment operators? What about our merchants? I mean, you had a business that existed right on the grounds there. At
Hmm.
the time, it was a tire shop, a tire repair, and you sold tires. You had a bunch of things. Imagine what the opportunity would be for you now in that area. I mean, you've left Dominica, and that is another part of the things that we're dealing with: the migration of talent and skills and capacity outside of Dominica.
Hmm.
But there's an opportunity there. You can imagine if you were bringing down container loads of truck tires to sell
Just
to and you had all of your seals and your gaskets and your oil and all of those things. Just from that alone, there's an opportunity there. And I think we missed the opportunity. I think the opportunity still exists, but that is the type of opportunities for equitable levels of participation that I mean, particularly in infrastructure development. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. It can go way past that and deeper levels, but that is what we'd like to see for Dominica. That is one of the things we want to advocate for.
someone. I don't know if you're open to taking questions in the comment box. Are you?
Oh yeah, of course. If I can answer.
All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, when you lose leadership, is likely to cause some further internal tension with the EWP. How do you plan to bring opposing sides together furthermore? Can you give... Oh, very good question. Very, very good question. And we spoke to that a little earlier on about having diverse views. I think,
Hmm.
and it's something that we also need to measure. And it's very difficult to measure at sometimes, and sometimes because of the nature of the issue, it can get lost. I think people very often look at diverse ideas, diverse perspectives, differences in opinion as division, and that's not necessarily so.
True.
I think that's one of the things that make us unique because we're different, because we look at things from different perspectives. One of the reasons that those types of perspectives turn into conflict is because it's not managed well. people get passionate, people get they you know they're passionate about their perspective and their point of view, and how we share that and how we receive that can turn it can lead to a breakdown in communication. One of the things we have to do is to manage that, make sure that we're opening the avenues for communication, effective communication. There may be sometimes we need to bridge the gaps. There may be sometimes we need to bring in other ears and eyes and look at the situation from an objective perspective, and recognize that this is not a real issue, rather it's a breakdown in communication. That's one of the things I would like to inject into our conversation. Better communication, more effective communication, more clarity in the level of communication, and appreciating the differences that we bring to the table. I think that too sometimes is a breakdown. There's a breakdown in the level of appreciation that we have for the differences that people bring to the table, rather than appreciating people's differences and finding how it can be used for the advancement of the cause. Gentlemen asked, we have used that before. Well, Richie, you have to use that everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go and you have people coming in from diverse backgrounds, there is going to be differences. Managing that is what is what is important. Managing that and making sure that we understand that unity does not mean uniformity, and understanding that the differences we have is what's going to be used to advance our cause. Understanding that we should always remember to operate from unity of purpose rather than uniformity in action. That's what's going to make a difference. That's one of the things I hope to highlight and to continue to build on inside of the party.
As you made that statement, unity of purpose, let's say the opposite happens and you don't win leadership. Are you willing to unify purpose in winning the election for Dominica?
Absolutely. There's no question about that, because it's not we have to rise above the individuality and the personalities that we are using and bringing together. If we keep focusing on individualities and personalities, then we sort of lose the perspective of where we operate from. Winning I think that I'll be best served in that position. It is a collective decision, but my ultimate goal is service to the party and service to the country. So yes, of course.
So service to country. I like that. I like that idea.
Absolutely.
Service to country. It is. I think that's where we need to be at. Service to country.
Absolutely.
And everybody stop looking for self. But moving on, how do you plan to measure the success of your leadership, both for the UWP and for Dominica as a whole?
So from a leadership perspective, there's a number of things. One, you start off with objectives. You start off with what you're looking to achieve, and your goals and your objectives, there needs to be quantifiable. They need to be measurable. You have to be, in order for you to be efficient, you have to set out measurable targets that you can look at from a day-to-day perspective, from a month-to-month perspective. And then you have to go, it's called PVP, your plans versus performance.
Okay.
That's how you in leadership and in business, and you use the same in your organization too. What did you plan to do? Or your organizational structure, you started out at the beginning of the year with a list of objectives and plans that you are hoping to implement, and measurable targets about it with the implementation. We're going to be looking at those implementation strategies and the performance of those objectives and implementation of those plans on regular intervals. That's how you measure it. That's how you measure it.
If you will, oh my God, I can't read properly. If you will, leadership, would you run an election with those who have run for the UWP before, using Danny Luge, Hector John, Monel Williams, Ezekiel Basil, for example?
You're going to have to help me, Richie.
I'm guessing that they're asking, if you win leadership, would you run or utilize some of the people who has run before in UWP as candidates?
Well, of course, the UWP is we're gonna have a strategic approach to conducting elections. But if the question is if we're willing to work with people in the party, absolutely. There's space for everybody. We're going to be working together. It's unity of purpose. Everybody, all hands on deck. Once we're because you see, it's about service to country. It's about stepping forward and stepping up as a servant of Dominica, as a servant of the party, as a servant of the movement, with the clearest objective and embracing of the ideology and philosophy of putting people first. And there is space for all of us to work together to do that. And yes, I'm willing to work with anybody who has that as the objective.
Okay. So you're basically going to present a united front.
Absolutely. Unity of purpose.
Unity of purpose.
Inclusive.
I like that word. Unity of purpose.
Yeah, man.
So let me ask you this question. It's going to stray a little bit, but let me just ask you this question. If the current government now was to reach out to you to help in your specific field as an engineer and stuff like that, what would be your response?
Say that again. What I don't understand.
Okay. You are engineer, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Good. If the current government now decides to reach out to Mr. Paris and say, Mr. Paris, we need your expertise in engineering and construction and stuff like that, what would be your response?
Are you asking me if they try to buy me if I'll go?
No, I'm not asking you to
No, Richie, there's a way that those things are done. There's a way that those things are done, and there's a transparent way that those things are done. If there's an opening for a tender that allows me to participate, absolutely, I'll participate. It's once it's a transparent, ethical, above board process. We've done that before. We do that all the time, but it doesn't bar anybody. It allows you to pre-qualify in a very transparent way. It allows you to participate in a very transparent way. Yes, I'm open to participating with the government. We always work with the government, Regime. Okay. But if it's something that I cannot be proud of, and I cannot show, and I cannot say absolutely in public, yes, this is what I'm doing with, then I can't be a part of it. It has to be a transparent process. All right. It has to be an ethical process. It shouldn't be a favor that's one-sided and lopsided and because here's the thing, when there's a tender open, all of my contractor friends can tender. It's open. We all know about the tender. We all know about the pre-qualification requirements. We all know about those things. It has to be above board process that allows other people to participate and letting the best man win.
So was there a tender for the international airport that you were aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Someone asked. I don't have evidence to verify that.
You don't have evidence to verify. Someone asked about immigration and migration. What are your thoughts on that?
Go again?
Immigration and migration, or immigration on how people leaving out the country. Why our great minds? Why people like me leave out the country? You know, like what is going on?
It's about access. I think an opportunity. It's something that is plaguing our country, and it's not just ours. It happens all over the world. But the reason people are leaving is because of the lack of opportunities that exist. I mean, that's not the only reason, but if you're looking at the mass, the way that it happens in mass, it's reflective of the viewpoint that people have of whether they are able to successfully lead their life and the way they want to, and to have access to the standard of living and the quality of life that is generally accepted around the world. If people find that they can do it better outside and there's a scarcity in the ability to access that, you find that happening, and that's what we want to change. We want people to be able to see and to hold and to have the perspective that a future in Dominica is good enough. It's universal. It's just as modern. You have just as much access, and in a way that we can cut back on the brain drain. We have to find a way to keep our best minds here. And it's not from a perspective of just using them, but giving them the opportunity to serve without them having to sacrifice the quality and the quality of living and the standard of life that is universally acceptable in the least.
So someone made a statement saying that I'm just gonna say what the person said. Maybe. Can you read it there now? Maybe it's best to form a new, vibrant party with the with like-minded young people? What do you think?
Well, it's there are different roads to achieving your terminal values. You have terminal values and you have instrumental values. Your terminal values never change. In this case, the terminal value is a better Dominica for everybody involved, for all concerned. The instrumental values of how we get there differ. I think coming together, stepping forward, stepping out and speaking up and saying, hey, I'm available, I want to serve, is the best that all of us can do. Do we eventually form a new party? Maybe. Or do we use what we have? We start where we are and we do what we can to the best of our ability. I think we have different approaches, and the latter is what I'm comfortable with. I think we start where we are, we use what we have, we do what we can, we add the value that we bring to the conversation, and we progress. We progress.
Okay, so adding value would be where you see yourself right now in the United Workers Party as a value adder or
Absolutely.
somebody of value. Okay.
Absolutely.
How are the people receiving you on the ground?
I think it's great. I think it's remarkable. It surprised me. I'm really excited about it. Um, you see a lot of it online.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't see is the people that I meet every single day, the random people, well, not random, but just people walking up and asking some of the same questions you asking, but really excited about interacting, really excited about hearing vision, really excited about the hope that is on the horizon for Dominica, the hope that we see, and the things that we can do, and the energy and the dynamism, and I really start to enjoy the patriotism, and I love people's energy towards the added faces and the dynamism. The supporters of the party, and the members of the public that I've been meeting with on a day-to-day basis, just expressing the excitement and the hope that they're seeing now, and the new possibilities, and using what we have and building on what we already have, has been tremendous for me. And I mean, it gives me, it increases that optimism. It really increases that optimism.
Okay.
Having conversations with senior members of the party and senior members of the public, and expressing that need, which is a policy of mine, Richie. A lot of people talk about the newness and the youngness and all of those things, but sometimes we misunderstand the need for the seniority, the need for elders, and the wisdom that they provide, the experience that they provide. That is one thing that I embrace fully. That is one thing that I will continue to promote, because there's a disconnect that happens sometimes in our presentation, where people talk about young people and the need for young people to step up, and we don't express enough the need for our seniors and our elders and the wisdom and the guidance that they provide. Yes, we can run faster and we can probably go further, but they have seen more sunsets than we have, and they understand how a lot of things work. And I think the best approach is an all-inclusive approach that joins wisdom, seniority, and eldership to youth and technology and modernization and speed. That's what gets us over the mark. And I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about all the interactions that we've been having.
Has social media played a large role in your campaign?
Yes, it has. It has. Social media plays a large role in everything that we do. That's why I'm here today with you. I didn't think you were wrong in the West, you saw a lot of stuff online, right? So social media does play a big part, but we have not neglected the ground. It's the reason you had a hard time catching me for 40 minutes to come on, is because we're on the road. We're meeting.
Okay. Well, our time running close, so let's run through this question here real quick.
Mhm.
What is your strategy for preparing the UWP for the next general election, including candidate selection, campaign financing, and voter outreach?
The strategy, well, the first step is that we have to find out where we are. Where are we as a party? What are we good at, and what are we weak at? We have to do an internal audit. Again, Richie, I'm not going to give you all I'm not going to give you all of our strategy, but it's finding out where we are and using data to give us that information, not just from an emotional standpoint of how I feel about it and how this other person feels about it, but using data so that we can take out the emotion and really look at the facts, look at where we are, because there are some things that we are very, very strong at, but there are also some things that we are not so strong at that we need massive improvement. Once we're able to objectively look at the science, at the data from a strategic standpoint, then we start building from there. One of the key areas is building back our organs, the organs of the United Workers' Party, the organs that worked so well, our grassroots movement. In some cases, that has been neglected. And going back to the ground, going back to the people, letting our modus operandi reflect the needs and the wishes of the people is what is going to propel us forward, is what's going to position us. Because a lot of people reach you on the ground too. You hear people's cry that they're not seen and they're not heard. And it's by all of us, it's by all the politicians. The United Workers' Party will get back to the ground, get back to our roots, get back to the grassroots and talk to people and let our activities reflect the wishes of the people. Also share it with them. It's not that we don't have ideas. It's not that we don't have vision. We do, but we have to hear from them. It has to start from a place of listening.
Also, I heard you mention earlier that agriculture is one of your strong points in bringing back Dominica. But a lot of people say agriculture is dead. What is your answer to that?
You'd have to measure it. How is agriculture dead? Why would you say something like that when we need food every single day? I'll tell you something, Richie. I was taught something by my father that he was taught by his grandmother that she learned from somewhere else. But I don't think it originated with them, but it's a principle that we hold as a family. And I have started using that in my own family. It is said that a farmer, the day that he does not have money, he will have food. And every day after that, he will have both. Okay. It is a principle. We cannot neglect agriculture, regardless of what we've done as in business, in construction. We have always maintained our connection with the soil. We've always maintained our connection with the soil. One of the things we have neglected as a country and as a people and as a party is our ability to scale our activity, our ability to bring that to the fore and implement it in a very sustainable way, adding value to the things that we've taken for granted, things that we do on a day-to-day basis. I'd like to give you an example. In 2017, our family participated. We had the opportunity to participate in the International of Cocoa Excellence competition that took place in France. We did it through the Dominica Export-Import Agency, Dexia, in 2017. And long story short, we were able to bring home the gold. We were able to be in the top 17 samples selected by chocolatiers around the world. But that's not unique to us. It's a very, very prestigious award, Richie. Very, very prestigious.
That sounds so big. In the world, you said though.
Award. Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's what I learned from that experience, among other things. That's not unique to our farm. We embodied, good ethical agricultural practices and so on and so forth. But that is because of the soil in Dominica. Dominica is one of 10 countries around the world that can provide fine and flavor cocoa 100%. Other places in the world, sub-Saharan Africa, they can't do that like Dominica and other places can. And you can look this up. What does that say? It means that anybody in Dominica can do the same thing. Yeah, we may not all be able to participate in the International Cocoa of Excellence competition, but it means and it reestablishes the fact that we have a universally accepted and sought after product that we can continue to add value to, a very resilient product, a very resilient product that we can continue to build on and scale. Chocolate is something that is sought after around the world. I think the value of it, please don't quote me, this can be verified, but it's over $20 billion. It's $100 and something billion a year, the chocolate industry.
Okay.
Dominica has an opportunity to participate in that by adding value to the cocoa that we can produce. And that is something that I don't see us taking full advantage of. And the thing is, every one of us can participate in that. Every one of us that have land in Dominica can get a cocoa plant and we can plant it out. It doesn't mean that we have to do only that. Of course, we're going to diversify and have a well-rounded agricultural system. But it means that there's an opportunity there for us to invest in it individually, collectively, and scale that industry to make it profitable for every one of us. And we can do that as a people. And that's the kind of ideas that I want to bring to our agricultural industry, adding value, scaling the products that we have, creating niche, and looking for markets to ensure that we have a sustainable approach for everybody.
Not just selling the raw materials, but also breaking them down.
Adding value,
Yeah.
adding value.
Right.
Continuously adding value and scaling the business aspect of it.
I like that. Senator Paris, you gave me 40 minutes. I don't want to infringe too much more on your time due to, I know, your constraints and you're a busy person.
Yes.
So in your final remarks,
Mhm.
are you ready for leadership for Dominica? Are you ready for leadership of the United Workers' Party? And are you ready to be a face and a force to reckon with in Dominica?
Absolutely. Here's the thing, Richie, right? I was asked this question recently. Somebody asked me if I thought that I had what it takes. And the answer is yes. I have what it takes. My response to that, in addition to that, is that do I believe I have all that it takes? Absolutely not. All of the ideas don't ever reside in one man's head, in your leader's head. Yes, your leader is in front and he has his responsibilities. But the biggest responsibility of a leader is to champion the cause of his group. Not to bully the group into believing and accepting everything that he says, but to champion it, to run fast and run far. But this leadership will be built with a huge team. So some of the best and the brightest. It's not about the individual, it's about the principle of the thing. It's about understanding that the rising tide that Dominica is about to have will lift all boats. It's about all of us. It's about bringing us together and ensuring that we together collectively can create the best future and the best outcome for ourselves, for our children, and the future of this country. And I'm really excited to be a part of that. I'm really excited to serve in that capacity. And I'm really excited to encourage other people to step out and speak loud and let your voices be heard and be a part of the solution for Dominica going forward.
One last thing. I heard you made a statement in Parliament one time that the people of Dominica won't be begging for much longer.
They won't.
Is that a statement you're willing to answer?
Of course. We have what it takes to build the future that we want, Richie. And I don't think we're comfortable with where we are. And I think, just like me, more people, seniors, elders, people who have migrated like yourself, I hope you're coming back, will step out and see that they're willing to be part of the solution to ensure that our children never have to beg, to ensure that our children don't have to pull their success out of the mud. But we can create something for them that they can have a step or a few steps up to ensure the success of our country. A future in Dominica is good enough, or it should be. And we should all participate in ensuring that we are part of the process of making that happen. Okay. So no, we won't be begging much longer. Tide is shifting.
I like that. Well, Senator Paris, I'd like to thank you for joining me and for speaking your words of encouragement to the people of Dominica. Yep. All the best, Sir Paris, in the revamping of the Commonwealth of our Commonwealth Island. Blessings. Step up and speak loud. Good luck, Delbert Paris, on the 15th Team Dominica. So those are the comments that we're coming through. And my people, because of the short time, Senator Paris has to be on the run because, you know, he's a busy man trying to make sure that he gets to where he needs to get to for Dominica to get the improvement. So let us give our hats off to him, and I will commend you, sir, for your time and for your candor.
Thank you.
Have a blessed and peaceful afternoon. This is Cardo's Media signing off. Senator Paris, stay on the line, please. Stay on the line there real quick.
Thanks for having me, Richie. Hopefully, we'll be back after the 15th.
Yeah, man. After the 15th, I want to see you, man. I want to
We'll be
see
back.
you.
We'll be back.